Hello, in this video I'm going to be solving exercise 3.1.102 from Jiří Lebel's notes on Diffy Qs. So we're given a system, and the system is y prime equals 2x, x prime equals x plus y, and we're given the initial conditions. X of 0 is 1 and y of 0 is 3. Okay, so how do we begin with the system? So the first thing we're going to want to do is take one of the variables, or functions I guess in this matter, x or y, and we're going to want to solve for x or y. Now, here we can choose either or. We can choose to solve for x in this equation or solve for y in this equation. In my approach, I originally solved it by solving for y here, so that's what I'm going to do here. So x prime equals x plus y. And actually, let me center this over here. If we solve for y, this gives us that y is x prime minus x. And so, how do we use this info to make progress towards solving the system? Well, we know that y prime equals 2x. So, if we differentiate, on one hand, y prime, just by taking the derivative of this right side, it's clearly going to be x double prime minus x prime. On the other hand, we know that this y prime is also equal to 2x. So this gives us the equation 2x equals x double prime minus x prime, which rearranges to be x double prime minus x prime minus 2x is equal to 0. And this is a second order linear ODE. Not too difficult to solve. Its characteristic equation will be r squared minus r minus 2 equals 0. And this factors as r plus 1 times r minus 2. And let's quickly check this. So we get r squared, and then r times negative 2 is negative 2r, plus 1 times r, that's r, so minus 2r plus r gives us negative r. And then 1 times negative 2 is negative 2. Okay. And that's equal to 0. So r is negative 1, or r is equal to 2. From our knowledge about solving second order ODEs, we know that the solution to, let's call this star, or the general solution rather, well, that's going to be x of t equals c1 e to the negative x plus c2 e to the 2x. And so to find y, we can return up here to this equation. And just note that y is x prime minus x. And so y, which is x prime minus x, and I'll add the t's actually. So y of t, which equals x prime of t minus x of t. Well, just taking derivatives, we see that this gives us negative c1 e to the negative x plus 2c2 e to the 2x minus c1 e to the negative x plus c2 e to the 2x. And when we simplify, that's really nice. This term and this term cancel. Oh, they don't, sorry. They don't cancel. We get negative 2c1 e to the negative x. And then here we have 2 minus 1c2, so we get just plus c2 e to the 2x. And so this gives us the general solutions for x and y. But remember that we were given these initial conditions up here. We're given that x of 0 equals 1 and y of 0 equals 3. So 1 equals x of 0. And if we plug in 0 to the formula for x, we get c1 plus c2. 3 equals y of 0. And if we plug in 0 to this formula for y, we get negative 2c1 plus c2. And so now this gives us the system C1 plus C2 equals 1, and then negative 2C1 plus C2 equals 3. And it's our choice which variable to solve for first. What I'm going to do is I'm going to solve for C2 in both equations to get them equal. And so for the first equation, we get C2 equals 1 minus C1. And from the second equation, we also get that C2 is 3 plus 2C1. And so, if I set these equal to each other, 1 minus C1 equals 3 plus 2C1, well, minus C1, if we add it over here, becomes plus, so this becomes 3C1. And then if I subtract 3 over here, we get negative 2. So this gives us that C1 should be negative 2 over 3. And let's double check this. So add over C1, we get 3C1. Subtract 3, we get negative 2. So we have negative 2 equals 3C1. And so indeed, we do get that. The C1 is negative 2/3. And so now, to get C2, we can just use this formula over here. So C2 is 1 minus C1, so we're going to do 1 plus 2/3, which gives me, well, 3 over 3 plus 2 over 3, that's going to be 5 over 3. And thus, the particular solutions that we want are x of t equals negative 2/3 e to the negative t plus 5/3 e to the 2t. And, oh, I just realized the variables here are wrong. All of these are supposed to be t's. My bad. Let me fix that really quick. And then y of t is going to be, well, now we have negative 2c1, so this will be positive 4/3 e to the negative t. And we have just c2, which is 5/3. So this is 5/3 e to the 2t. And this completes the solution of this system. All right, that wraps up this video. If there are any questions, please feel free to leave a comment. Otherwise, I will see you all in the next video.